All right, welcome everyone. Welcome tonight to the My Life Crush webinar. So, 12 steps to recovery from divorce, healing the hurt and breaking free. Thanks for taking the time out on your Tuesday night to be with me. It is always amazing to, be able to share some information with you every other week, every month. And again, thank you for joining me. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes for a couple more people to log on before we actually get started. So sit back, relax, grab your tea, and we will just start in a few minutes. Okay, so like I said, I'm dealing with some new technology here. So you're going to have to bear with me um, as I try to explain things. So, first of all, my name is Diana Mikas, and I'll be your host for the next maybe 30 minutes, depending on how many questions come up and how much discussion gets shared. So, as we discover the quickest path to recovering from one of life's biggest transitions, which is divorce. So, first, a bit of housekeeping. I just want to go through a couple of things with you. I'd like to point out that you do have a panel or a bar at the top or the bottom. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can kind of let me know um, where you're seeing it, but you do have a panel. And you can see there that there is a little link that says questions Q&A. That is where you can press that little button and a window pops up where you can actually ask me questions. So if anything comes to you during the course of this webinar, please just type in your questions and I will answer them at the end of the webinar. As well, as a thank you for attending tonight's webinar, you will be given a gift, actually 2 gifts at the end. So I'll tell you about those later on. And if you haven't joined our private My Life Crush Facebook group, please do so for daily support and inspiration. I'm always there. There's always posting, there's activity, there's discussion and support. So please reach out anytime you need and just join the group. And you can also join or visit my website, mylifecrush.com, to get more resources and to download more freebies and stuff like that. And I will show the addresses to both of those at the end of the webinar. As well, one last thing, at the end, there will be a short survey that will be sent to you with only 3 questions. So if you would just take a minute to answer those questions, it will really help me in getting to know what you need and will help me support you the best way that you require. So there's no guessing involved. Okay, so if you did that for me and sent it right back, it's a very, like I said, very short survey. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so can everybody hear me? I'm kind of like, oh, here we go. We have more people coming on right now, which is excellent. I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Again, this is a new platform for me, so I don't even know where you guys are. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay. So let's get started, shall we? So a little bit about me. So I'm a life transition coach, if you didn't notice. And I bring my expertise in holistic nutrition, Reiki, and also coaching to empower women who are going through a divorce primarily, but also um, for anyone who's recovering from the grief and trauma of any big life transition. So how did I get into this line of work? I decided to get into divorce trauma because of my own personal experience. I was married for 20 years. I had 3 sons, and I went through a very long and painful 5-year divorce where my health and emotional and financial well-being were severely compromised. And the separation really was, incredibly traumatic, sort of like a suspense thriller. And So it took me about 4 years to kind of just get my grounding again in my life and to start the repair process and get back on my feet. So I really saw a need to help other women go through this life transition, and I really wanted to share my experience. And by learning all the modalities, as I had mentioned, holistic nutrition, Reiki, energy work, and coaching, I combine all of those to help women go through that process with ease. So um, this webinar is really about giving you the way to heal and break free from the trauma, as I mentioned. So healing is such a process. Took a long time to get to this stage, and the healing process is going to take time. And we go through the trauma and the grief, and eventually, when you go through the process of healing, you do get control back of your life. So you can make the decisions you need to get back on track, feeling powerful and flourishing. So that's what this uh, essentially the webinar is about. It's about trying to heal and recover and feel powerful again and committed to, living your lives to the fullest. Before we heal, we have to identify the leading areas that have emotional impacts that need healing, of course, in order for us to break free from the repeated patterning that we go through during this process. And the first one, the biggest one, is trauma and shock. Of course, studies reveal that the effects of divorce trauma are as severe as PTSD in war veterans. Surprise, surprise. I mean, we've all been through it on some level, and it affects all areas of your life. And that's why it is as traumatic. It affects your mental well-being. It affects your physical health. It affects your financial status, not to mention your social status, and the dismantling of your family and friends. It's a foundational trauma. And the trauma you go through in divorce is debilitating and can last for years and possibly the rest of your life if you don't heal from it. We now identify this stress as post-traumatic divorce stress. We have a name for it now. And we also go through an incredible sense of abandonment because we lose things. We lose the important elements that bind us in a couple to begin with. We feel undesired, we feel rejected, we feel very insecure and discarded. And I know those feelings personally from a deep level. And this is considered separation stress. Studies reveal that, when you're young and you go through a situation where you're separated from your essential parent, it is it's basically triggers a stress hormone that sets the stage for how we're going to manage separation stress in the future. So when you're young, if you go through a traumatic separation, and frankly, on some level, we all go through this sense of abandonment, even when we come into these lives, that sets the stage up, right? So we're always going to be triggered from that level, and we aren't going to be able to cope in the future if we don't deal with that level of abandonment. And when we become adults and we go through a divorce, this trigger is magnified because of exactly that. The patterning that created the response can even reveal itself as depression and anxiety. And it can even lead to avoidance behaviors, self-sabotage, procrastination, which is one of my favorite go-to techniques of abandonment. There is a profound sense of loss in all areas of your life that need to be grieved. So there's, the loss of your partner, of course, your family unit, your friends, your status, your home, your dreams for the future. All stages of grief must be acknowledged and dealt with. And of course, the stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. So what happens when we start recovering from those three essential levels of trauma and loss? Of course, we just spoke about the loss that we have. We go through calm. We have to get to a level of calm really to start because without calm and clarity as our foundation, we aren't going to make the decisions that we need to in a rational manner and in a manner that will help us, move forward. So it's really essential to develop a sense of calm and get grounded with our decisions and our daily activities. And then we can become reassured. So once we go through the calm process, then there will be a consistent feeling that everything's okay. So we're reassured that where we're going and the decisions that we are making will be the right ones for us at that particular time. And then we can feel a sense of confidence. This is a big one because I know that I struggle with this a lot when I'm making decisions for myself, because there's nobody to, they're the partner that you once had, or the essential voice of reason, in a sense, is gone. Not that you don't have a reasonable outlook on life, but when you're in this trauma, really, it's difficult to create that reasonableness, because nothing is now reasonable. So from that point of view, it's difficult. So when we get back our confidence, we become more secure and more confident, and you then develop a sense of where you need to go for the next part of your life. So let's see what happens now with this process. So these are the areas that we work on when we work together, and um, when we go through the levels of healing. So the first one we need to do is reconnect. So reconnection is reconnection on many levels. So we need to reconnect with who we are again, because when you're going through this trauma, you lose all sense of yourself, as you might have during your marriage, right? When we go through marriage, it's very, very common for us as females to just compromise every part of ourselves in order for the betterment of the family. And we're in a fog. So reconnecting to who we are, reconnecting to, the idea of grounding and getting feeling secure in where you are. And we can do this with many, many things, but it really is going from chaos to calm. And then again, when we go through the calm process, then we have to recharge. We have to recharge our bodies. Okay, so we go from like depleted to nourished. Then we go to reclaim. Then we can reclaim ourselves again, reclaim where we're going to go, reclaim what we stand for, where the new path is. So it's really from a point of view of becoming, getting control back, having that blurred outlook on our lives become clear. And this allows us to have the freedom that we need to move forward. So what are the 3 core principles of the 12 steps? So, I break this process down for you into 3 core principles, because those are the essential processes that we need to address before we go through all the steps. It's not like AA's three-step process, or 12 steps to sobriety, but it's very similar. So the first core principle, as I mentioned, is reconnection. So we really do have to recover from the trauma and find out who we are again. We reconnect to our true self, the person that we were before the divorce. And one of the things that I hear constantly with clients is how they lost themselves in their marriage, as I just mentioned. They made so many compromises. They, got to the point where they lost themselves completely, and they no longer knew who they were. I personally went through that whole trauma as well. It's kind of like a divorce fog, and marriage fog, frankly, and it exacerbates when you're in divorce, because then you have no other sense of who you are. So reconnection is really, really important. The next thing is to recharge yourself. So again, this is about repleting and nourishing your body. The level of stress that you go through during a divorce is insurmountable at times. And one quote that constantly reminds me of the level of stress that I went through was said by Elizabeth Gilbert in her amazing book, Eat, Pray, Love, which, on some level we all go through. And she said, going through a divorce is like being in an accident every single day. That's the level of trauma that you're going through. So recharging now is essential. because we don't want to continue the level of stress that we're at, because it is the number one cause of all illness. So we need to heal and we need to reduce our stress and learn how to manage our stresses and recharge our bodies. Then we can reclaim. So confusion to clarity. This is about getting clear on where you need to go. We can recalibrate, we can reclaim our life goals, we can get back on our clear path. It's not the same one. It's not the same path. You're going to be going on to a whole new path now and charging forward. And there's power when you have control over your life again. And this is what my mission's all about. I started this because I really want to empower all women who are going through this amazingly huge life transition, to go through a process that is, with the least amount of emotional and physical impact as possible. And I'm really super passionate about helping you fall in love with your lives again and yourself again. That's my mission. I'd like to reach out to every single woman in the world if I can. And that's, that's a big goal, but that's what I intend on doing. So I just want to do a little check-in. How are you guys doing so far? Is what I'm saying useful to you? Is there any particular area that you're struggling with? You can make comments in the Q&A section at any time. It'd be nice to kind of hear from you. I know you're out there. It's tough when there's no voice interaction. So it'd be nice to hear from you. So any comments whatsoever, just type in the comment box, just to let me know that you're out there and you're hearing everything I'm saying and it's all making sense. Okay, let's move forward. So this is my journey to wellness for you. So here's the journey. We start off with grief. We're in shock, we're in trauma, we're in panic, and you're about, 0 to 15% of your wholeness. This is kind of, you're at that level of like, what's going on? Then you go to loss and you accept the sadness and you're in denial. Then you're up at 15 to 30%. Then you recognize that the abandonment issue comes up. There's a potential emotional state of a depression and feeling isolated. So you're at 30 to 50%. So we want to eliminate that and go through those stages really, really quickly. And then we want to get to acceptance, find your calm again and composure. Then you're going to recalibrate, and then you're going to get right up to control again and feel confident and grounded. And that's where we want to be. So this is the journey that I'm offering you for today. This is about trauma to tranquility. Then how do we do it? We reconnect. So we acknowledge the stage or level of trauma that you're in. So you can be at a mild stage where you're able to go out every day and do your normal activities of your life, but you have bouts of sadness. You could be at a medium level where you're generally able to get on with your life with regular days of depression, sick days off perhaps, occasionally canceling social engagements, the occasional use of alcohol or a mild sleeping pill to get through the night. Or you could be in a severe stage. So this is where I see many clients where they're fearful of engaging with people. They have social anxiety, overall anxiety that seems to stay with them throughout the day, and they need medication to cope and get through the day. So what is triggering you at this time is really important to identify. It's real. Is it a past trauma that just keeps getting re-triggered and needs healing? This is where we reframe what our reality is with what our trigger is, and getting a clearer sense of really what's going on with you. Then we find calm. So again, when you're in trauma, the first thing we need to do is level you off, level your calmness, level your anxiety actually, to get to that calm. So this is about engaging in practices that maintain a sense or a level of calm. Again, maintaining that stress level. You can get grounded with techniques, and the 3 pillars of calm that I practice and I preach are to, number one, to breathe. When we're in trauma and we're in fear, first thing we do is we hold our breaths, right? You might be holding your breath now, but I hope not. So we're going to learn how to breathe properly, and this is diaphragmatic breathing, which is essential. It's not the high breathing. Then we get grounded. So there are many grounding techniques out there, but we ask you to visualize, many of the grounding techniques that I use. It's about visualizing, um, you know, keeping connected to the earth. And these are done several times a day or once a day, the morning or in the evening. And then the next pillar is about gratitude. We know scientifically that by being grateful and saying thank you, it actually changes your DNA, and you can create an environment of healing and calm, which is where we want to be, right? Next thing we do is we claim. So this is a big one for women because throughout our lives and in varying degrees throughout our marriage, we shut down our voice. We compromise ourselves. We second guess ourselves. We make excuses for our partner. And this can become a real issue. And it frankly is right now. I see a lot of, also as a holistic nutritionist, I went through a year of seeing nothing but thyroid issues and Hashimoto's. It's like an epidemic with women these days. And we identify that energetically as a Reiki practitioner. That, of course, connects to our fifth chakra, which is our throat chakra. And by shutting down our voice and not being able to say what we need to say, we create an energetic block, which of course can lead to all kinds of illnesses and diseases, and like I said, thyroid issues. So how do you get rid of this? How do you break up this block? Many ways. You can journal. You can do laugh therapy. There's all kinds of speaking techniques that I bring into my practice, and chakra exercises that you can do as well. There are mantras that you can do to activate that chakra and create clarity in your voice again. Then the next one is composure. I love this picture because, to compose yourself every day is a hard thing when you're going through a divorce. And there's some days where you don't even want to get up and face the day. So this type of composure is all about getting yourself together. With a, if you have to grit through it, it's about getting yourself moving. So pulling yourself together and getting your body on some sort of regular cycle. So waking up at a certain day is important. Regularity helps rebuild and recuperate our body. Putting yourself on a schedule is also a good thing, even though you don't even want to or don't feel that you can at this point. Even if it's just staying in bed for the first half an hour of the day and doing those breathing techniques that I mentioned and visualization techniques to get your energy going. But it's so important to do, to pull yourself together and put yourself on a regular schedule. So the next pillar, as we talked about, is recharging. So recharging is really important. Just like we need to recharge our machines, we need to refuel and recharge our body. And when we're so depleted during a divorce, it is so important to treat your body well and to recharge on every level. And this means nourishing our body with good, healthy foods, repairing the damage by making sure we have regular appointments with our chiropractor or osteopath, or a massage is so key and so important. I can tell you that, this one's a key one for me because personally, I've seen a lot of friends who, when they go through this life transition, they've ended up having breast cancer. It's like such a common epidemic. And I'll talk to you more about what breast cancer is and why it happens with women. But this is where, 1 in 3 women are going to have breast cancer eventually in their lifetime. And it's because of traumas like this. It's because of broken hearts, and healing it at this point and recharging your body and taking your health seriously at this point is so important. Then we cherish our bodies. So again, this is about, look at this beautiful little precious thing that I have, this picture of this beautiful baby. We were like that once, and you wouldn't abuse a baby's body. You wouldn't give your your baby, or this particular baby's body, toxins, right? Not intentionally. So we need to really remember that our bodies are just as fragile as this baby. And we really do need to cherish our houses, our temple. Our body is our temple. And we need to really, like I said, cherish this by making sure that you eliminate toxins in your life. This is very, very important as a holistic nutritionist. This is where I come into play, and I put my holistic nutrition hat on, and I, encourage all my clients to eliminate those things that are going to create more inflammation, more adrenal issues, more oxidation and immune system breakdown. And that means taking away foods that are toxic, processed foods, fried foods, high sugar foods, and also all kinds of other toxins like stimulants, like alcohol. And we also need to get enough sleep, which is key at this point in our lives. And we need to cultivate a beautiful healing environment. And very essential to cultivating a healing environment is exercise. We know through many, many studies that exercise is one of the key factors in creating a healthy body. And by exercising regularly, we allow our body to repair. It provides healthy heart function. It boosts your immune system. It creates mental well-being, which is so key for this time of your life, and many, many, many other health benefits in your body. And I'm not talking about like going to the gym, starting to, joining, a running club after not running for 20 years. At this stage, the type of exercise I'm suggesting is really being gentle on your system. This is about gentle exercise. This is about restorative exercise. This is about healing exercise. And as I mentioned, we need to get centered again. So being centered is all about looking at your heart. So in Reiki, the heart is the center chakra. So we have 7 chakras, for those of you who aren't aware. And the heart is what separates the upper 3 chakras, which connects us to our higher being and our intuition and our connection to the divine, to God. And then it also separates our lower 3 chakras, which is all about connecting to the earth, getting grounded, connecting to our foundation. So what happens when our heart is not functioning or is blocked? We actually have a block between those two. So that's really important to identify. And it's also really important to eliminate the armor that we now have around our heart. And by doing this, we can develop trust, a sense of security, and make our way towards self-love. And finally, we recalibrate. So recalibrating is very important here as well, because when we go from confusion as to what's going on with our lives, everything falls away. We don't know where we are anymore. We're trying to get our footing and our grounding. And when we go through this process, by this stage, number 9, we are able to recalibrate. So now we have clarity and we're calm and we're on our way to repair. And clarity really means, now starting to reestablish what your goals are. And now seeing our path as open and clear and unlimited to do whatever you want in your life. As scary as this may seem, by the time you hit level 6 or level 9 in the steps, you are feeling confident and you're able to eliminate all the fear, or most of the fear at this point. And this is an opportunity to really get clear over what you want now in your life, and more importantly, what you deserve. And then we can create a whole new life plan. This is amazing, because by level 10 or by step 10, you can remember your goals that you had before marriage. Remember all those amazing goals we had and wishes and dreams? Well, they're no longer there anymore, and we have to accept that. And when we accept that, then we can see the potential to create something new. And we can look at the wishes and dreams that we originally had in our life as children, or even, whatever stage in life that was your primary stage, where you really had clarity as to what you wanted to achieve in your life. We can get those back here. We can really create from nothing, create from all the experience that we've now experienced, all the, ups and downs and the lessons that we've learned. And then we can course correct. So, all the blocks that have fallen down, now you can correct them. Now you're able to rebuild those blocks and eliminate the emotional blocks. Actually, we're at that point. So we can clear this new path and we can start building, and tweaking, of course. As you can see, some blocks don't always stand up straight on top of other blocks. So this is our opportunity to, after we create our new life plan, is to tweak and just get better and better and better. And then we can command our lives and take back the command of our lives. I love this very well-known orchestra. What are they? I've just lost the word. So it's about directing, right? Directing your life. And we can take command now and master where we're going, right? This level of confidence, you get back the love that you missed, that you had once for conductor. Thank you. That you had. And then you can proceed from that point of view. So, how are we doing so far? What are your takeaways so far on these levels of these steps of getting to clarity and healing through the breakthrough? How am I doing? Am I hitting all the points for you? Is there anything that you want to comment on at this point? I'd love to hear from you, see how I'm doing. Thank you. This is great. Steps. Thank you, Ronnie. Love the step-by-step process. Yes, that's key to getting to where you need to do. It's really about taking one step at a time at this stage. We can't just overwhelm ourselves with thinking, okay, we're just going to one day wake up and, after everything's finished, that it's all going to be okay. This is about taking the steps you need, because it took you steps to get here, right? So we're going to take our steps to get to where you need to heal and to move forward. So I mentioned that at the end of the webinar, I have something for you. As a gift for today, I want to, well, first of all, just do a little recap. So as I mentioned, we went through and identified the trauma that you're going through. We identified that you're going through the sense of abandonment and sense of loss as you go through the stage. And there are many ways to heal, and we address the 3 elements of healing. The 3 core elements are reconnecting, getting calm, claiming your voice, getting composure, recharging. Number 2 is recharging. So again, cherishing that body that you have, cultivating an environment of healing, and getting centered again. And then number 3, you can recalibrate. So we create a new path. We course correct, of course, and put those blocks back in place, and we take command of our lives again. So that's the full journey of the 12 steps to healing, where you can find your inner strength again, you can heal, and you can break free from the traumatic effects of divorce. So support, I'm here to support you. This is just a little snippet of some of the things that I do in my courses and how I deal with my clients one-on-one. Having these steps is really important to get clarity to where you need to go. And I want to support you in any way that I possibly can. So part of, being on this webinar as a gift to you, I want to offer up a free coaching call to the first 10 people who give me their names and their contacts in the answer box. If you want a free coaching course or a free coaching session with me, please let me know, and I will send you my calendar and we'll hook up a time. and see where you're at. Let me know where you're struggling with, how we can break through some blocks together. And I also will be giving you a gift of this recording so you can review at any time, review the 12 steps, and look at some of the tips that you can do to break through your blocks that you go through every day. And so again, there's a free coaching call. So again, just type in your name and your address and let me know if you're wanting to take advantage of this. This would be a perfect opportunity for us to, explore what you're struggling with and help you make some breakthroughs. And again, free access to the webinar recording. You'll get that in your email after this webinar is over. And finally, I also want to offer up my first 21-day Foundation Fix course. I'm just for the next 24 hours, I'm offering it at a very reduced price of $197. This is 21 days of 3 modules that will take you through a process of getting calm and clarity back in your life. So again, for the next 21 days only, you will get this offer again in your mailbox as a thank you. And also, please join me daily for support. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, please find us online. It's My Life Crush on Facebook, and just join and take advantage of the inspiration every day. You can't do this alone. I mean, I went through it myself, and having some sort of daily check-in, daily support by going on the Facebook group really is key to your recovery and getting through this process. And also visit my website at mylifecrush.com at any time so you can just, see what else I have to offer. There are more downloads for you and information. And I also have a blog that I also write, every other week for you to get some more information and hopefully inspiration and help. So thank you so much. This was a nice short webinar and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, please reach out to me at any time with any questions that you have. You have my contact information. Go on the Facebook group, start engaging, share what your struggles are, and take advantage of this. And I am here for you because you can't do this alone. Even if you have therapy and you do have some sort of support system in place, which is amazing, it's so good to have a coach. Coaching is very different from therapy. It's very different from anything else that you do. It's about keeping you going. It's about keeping you supported on a positive level and giving you the tools and tips that you need to get through this every day. So thank you again for attending tonight. Thank you for spending this evening with me. And I really do look forward to hearing from you. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening.